Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode of the monthly favorite series, we're going to be talking about a book, a podcast, a physical product, and a new blog/author I've discovered. Let's just get into it. Okay, so the book I want to talk about this month is The Third Door by Alex Banayan. Before I talk about this, I just want to say a big congratulations to Katerina Stoisavljevic, sorry for butchering that pronunciation, who won last month's book, which is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. So, Katerina, I'm going to message you on Instagram and I will ask for your address and then I'll mail you a copy of this book at some point in the next few months when I have a chance to go to the post office. And we're going to be doing the same thing this month. So if you want a copy of this, just leave a comment down below with your Instagram username and I will message you if you are the lucky winner next month. Anyway, let's talk about this book, The Third Door by Alex Banayan, the wild quest to uncover how the world's most successful people launched their careers. Now, this is sort of a self-help book in disguise. It's not really a self-help book, but you know, I'm a big fan of these like self-improvement, self-development, business type books. This sort of is that, but not really. It's the story of this college student called Alex, who realizes that he doesn't really know what to do with his life. And so he goes on a mission to try and get life advice from the world's most successful people. So he goes off to try and find like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and all these like famous people and ask them what they were doing at his age, like, 18, 19, 20, 21, around that age in order to get to where they are today. And initially when I heard about this, I think I heard about it on Matt D'Avella's podcast, really good episode with the author Alex that you should definitely listen to. I'll put a link down below. When I first heard about this, I just thought it would be like a compilation of like life advice, kind of like Tim Ferriss's Tribe of Mentors, which is a good book. But actually this is more like a storybook. He's telling the story of how he had this idea and all the various steps he took to try and interview the world's most successful people. And it's just really, really interesting. And I've got like a personal rating system for books. They can be good or really good or really, really good or really, really, really good. And for a book to get really, really, really good, like the three reallys, then it needs to keep me up until 4 o'clock in the morning, the day before I actually have to go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning because it's that good. And The Third Door definitely hit that bar. I finished it in about 2 days because I started reading it one night at like 11 p.m., stayed up until 3 a.m. that night, kind of getting halfway through it. And then the next day, stayed up until 4 a.m. And then I had work the next day, which is probably a bit, irresponsible of me, but oh well, I just loaded up on coffee from Costa Coffee. Shout out to Costa, sadly not sponsored. Oh, by the way, I actually forgot to mention why it's called The Third Door. Life and business, it's just like a nightclub. There are always 3 ways in. There's the first door, the main entrance where 99% of people wait in line hoping to get in. The second door is the VIP entrance, where the billionaires and celebrities slip through. But what no one tells you is that there is always the third door. It's the entrance where you have to jump out of line, run down the alley, bang on the door 100 times, crack open the window, and sneak through the kitchen. There's always a way in. Whether it's Bill Gates selling his first piece of software, or Steven Spielberg becoming the youngest studio director in Hollywood history, they all took the third door. If you dream of learning under the wings of world-class mentors, achieving your biggest goals, or just transforming yourself into the person you always imagined you could be, The Third Door gives you the tools you need so you can get what you want. Yeah, loads of interesting insights from this. Just a really, really good story in general. Even if it didn't have any life advice, I would still love this because it's just so well written. And I actually cried at the end. There's like a really good bit about when he's asking Lady Gaga for life advice. I won't like go much more detail into it, but like I actually brought tears to my eyes and I was like, this is actually so sick. So yeah, Third Door, Alex Banayan. I'll stop droning on about it. Let's move on. Secondly, I want to talk about a podcast that I discovered about a month ago, and that is the Smart Passive Income podcast by Pat Flynn. And I'd heard of Pat Flynn because he's been fairly prolific in the kind of smart passive income community for the last 10 years or so. I think I first discovered him about 5 years ago, but I never actually looked into his content because it always just sounded a bit scammy, kind of like Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich, or Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek. But it's actually really, really good. It's a podcast. He's been doing it for absolutely ages now. There's like 350 episodes or something. And the idea is that, it's this whole thing about passive income, i.e. creating, books and processes and businesses that mean that you can make money without having to put more time into them. And Pat Flynn is a master of this, and he on his podcast he talks about his own experiences of building smart passive income sources, but also he interviews loads of other people who have done similar things. So I've listened to about 25 episodes of this podcast this last month, and I've got another 20 queued up. I just went through his whole back catalog and just added whichever one seemed vaguely interesting to my Castro. That's the app that I use for podcasts. And recently I've been listening to a lot of interviews from people who've done self-published books. So books are a great way of making passive income because obviously you put in a ton of effort to research and write the book once, but then, that can then sell multiple copies without you having to put in much extra time, effort. And I've been kind of vaguely thinking, oh, it'd be cool to write a book at some point. And so I'm sort of soaking in all this podcasty knowledge about it. And apart from book authors, he also interviews like entrepreneurs and other people who have this whole passive income thing going. It's just really good to get actionable advice from people who have built this sort of lifestyle that I certainly aspire to, and that a lot of people who watch this channel I know probably aspire to as well. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check out the Smart Passive Income podcast by Pat Flynn. Thirdly, I want to talk about a physical product that I've been recommending to literally all of my friends, and that is this weird looking Shiatsu back massager thing that I found randomly on Amazon. And this is just amazing. So it's like, you can see how it is. You're like, you put your arms through it, and then you turn it on, and it massages you, and it's like the best thing ever. And you can like modulate the force by just pushing more forward, and you can like make it warm you up as well. And this is great because it's very, very portable, and you can plug it in anywhere. Oh my goodness. And what you can do is you can just position it exactly where all the pain points are on your back or on your neck or whatever, and it can just massage you. So you can, the other day I was watching some YouTube videos, so I just had this sitting like this, and it's quite distracting really, and just feeling the relaxation and the awesomeness of getting the massage. Ooh, hello. Yeah, this is amazing. And I recommended it to a friend who bought it immediately on Amazon Prime the instant I recommended it, and he said that it's changed his life as well. So I'd highly recommend this. If you ever get kind of back pain, or if you enjoy massages as I do, massages are like my favorite thing. So if anyone ever wants to get me a gift, like a massage, voucher type thing, is like the best thing ever. But yeah, this is just incredible, and it just like massages you really nicely. So yeah, 100% would recommend. I'll put an Amazon link in the description below. So if you're into this, if this seems like the sort of torture device you might like, then I would recommend. It comes with like a little car chargy plug thing as well. I haven't tried using it in the car, but maybe one day if I'm going on a long journey, I'll take it into the car with me. But yeah, that was product number 3. And finally, I want to talk about an author/blogger that I recently discovered, and his name is Tynan, Tynan. He doesn't have a surname, he just goes by Tynan, and he's written a few books self-published on Amazon that you can have a look at, and he's also got a blog, tynan.com. And this guy's quite interesting. He's interesting because for a few reasons. So if anyone's read The Game by Neil Strauss, circa 2002, then Tynan is actually one of the pickup artists that was kind of featured in The Game. So he used to be a pickup artist back in the day. That sounds all sleazy and stuff, but there's a lot of kind of backstory behind it, and The Game is actually quite a good storybook if you want to have a look at it. Anyway, he used to be a pickup artist back in the day and kind of learned how to talk to girls and stuff. But now, then he kind of left that side of life, and then just went like traveling around the world, running his like side businesses. So he made this blogging platform, and then this way to find cruise ship deals and stuff. And then he wrote a few books. The interesting thing about him is that he's very into this whole traveling thing, which I've recently become very into as well after listening to Rolf Pott's podcast Deviate and reading Rolf Pott's book Vagabonding. So he's into the whole traveling thing. But perhaps more interestingly, he went viral on the internet about 6-7 years ago amongst like the tech community and stuff, because he bought an island with his friends, like an island off the coast of Canada. So he and like 10 of his mates, they all pitched in to buy this island, which apparently cost them around about $10,000 each. $100,000 island or thereabouts, split 10 ways, $10,000 each. And he says that this island is the best thing that he's ever bought. And me and my brother, we have both entertained these fantasies of, it would be cool to buy an island one day. But it's just so interesting hearing someone who's actually done it talk about why you should buy an island and why it's like the best thing ever. And he talks about how life on this island, and like, he and his mates go to the island several times a year, and they've cleared all the undergrowth out, and they've started building their own houses, and they've turned it into this kind of community holiday type destination where they can bring their own friends and family. And it's just been something that's added so much value to all of their lives, because it's fun, it's interesting, you get to hang out with your mates, it's physical labor, it's all these cool things all tied up in this very weird thing of buying an island. So yeah, there were a few podcasts that I heard that he was featured in, so I'll link some of those down below, along with his blog that I started binging. Apart from the island thing, he also has this other interesting philosophy, which is that what he does is that he finds areas around the world that he enjoys living in. And then what he does is that he gets 10 of his mates together, and they buy a house in in the center of that city. So I think he's got properties in Budapest and Tokyo and Las Vegas. And his theory is that it's a lot more fun and it's a lot better to own 1/10 of 10 houses around the world than it is to own a single house in one place. And we all have this thing that we want to get on the property ladder and stuff. And I suppose it does make sense owning your own home, at least initially, based on what the numbers are like. But then in terms of second and third and fourth homes and stuff and investments and things, his whole thing is you might as well just club in with 10 friends and buy a house in Budapest that any of you can go to whenever you want. Like, they don't even put it up for rent on Airbnb or anything, because that kind of defeats the purpose. The point is, it's this home base that you can have in a city that you really like going to, that at a moment's notice you can decide, you know what, I want to go to Budapest for the weekend. And the fact that you've got a house there that's, open to you and 10 of your friends, it just makes it so much better. So I think that's a really interesting philosophy to live by. And if you listen to his podcast, he's very, very thoughtful about the things that bring him and his friends personal happiness. And him having done the whole thing of like traveling the world and being all successful and trying to be rich and stuff. And he's realized that actually, as all rich people say, that it's not about the money, it's about the freedom, and it's about spending time with your friends and family, and it's about these experiences. He kind of thinks through this very, very clearly, in my opinion. And I've started now kind of floating this idea to my friends, being like, hey guys, in a few years' time, why don't we all just pitch in and get a house in, some cool city that we like, and then we can all treat that as a holiday home. But yeah, loads of interesting insights and life lessons and stuff from Tynan, so I link all of his stuff down below. And that brings us to the end of another monthly favorite series. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't seen other videos in the monthly favorite series, I'll put a link over there somewhere to one of the monthly favorites playlists that you can just kind of browse through. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.